Hey there. Thank you for joining me in our next episode of Applying Our Power of Choice to Our Lives. Today, we're going to talk about the emotion of frustration. I would say frustration is probably one of the emotions that we experience more often than some of the other more drastic ones. But don't count out frustration from being extreme. Like any emotion, it can go ballistic and create a dramatic scene as well. Frustration is sparked within our minds when things are not unfolding as we thought they should, or someone is not acting the way we think they should. No, really, it is. Think about it. So we're driving on the freeway, believing that all the vehicles should just flow along so we can get where we want to get to in a timely manner and without having to use our brakes. What's that up ahead? Red brake lights. No! And then as we sit in traffic longer and longer, our frustration level rises. Who's at fault here? Did someone get in an accident? Why weren't they watching what they were doing? Or is there construction going on? Why didn't they plan to do this when I wasn't on the road? Or possibly the person we're dating or married to keeps forgetting about the plans we made for them. Our mind believes that anything we do is important and should be remembered by everyone else. If they forget, our ego interprets it as we're evidently not important to them. And of course, our ego provides proof that they always remember the things that are important to them, so we have evidence that they can remember things. They just don't care about me. Then there is that dang refrigerator. Aren't they supposed to last forever? They should never break down. Why is it trying to spoil all that food that I worked so hard for? We know that secretly all the electronic machines are slowly taking over the world, and they're just trying to prove their dominance over us by shutting down when they aren't supposed to. War! Maybe we're talking with a customer on the phone at work. Why aren't they letting me finish a sentence? Why do they keep interrupting me? Evidently, what they have to say is more important than what I have to say. I can't believe they're not allowing me to help them. Our beliefs that someone shouldn't interrupt us cause our minds to battle against reality, and frustration comes to the rescue. Rescue, you ask? Yup. Like all the uncomfortable emotions, frustration is ignited by our fight and flight mode. It is more attached, I would say, to the fight side, though. Our mind thinks things should be going a certain way, and when they aren't, it activates the red alert. Security! Security! And that is really what our fear ego is trying to do. Make us feel more secure. When we aren't getting our way, we feel insecure, unworthy. Okay, now that we have talked about some of the frustrating situations in our lives, let's take some deep breaths and apply our superpowers. The power to laugh. You might have found yourself chuckling a little when I was breaking down some of the frustration earlier. I find that when I write about our fears or talk about them out loud, they do start sounding a bit hilarious. Traffic must obey me. People of the world must listen to my every word and do what I say. Electronics must bow to my power. The more we start remembering our powerful self that sits right here inside us, we begin to put together that no one and no thing can make us feel or do anything that we don't want to feel or do. When we begin to live our lives in that power, the result can be nothing more than a power-filled life. We stop pretending that the world outside of us has control over us. And when someone or something tries to take our power, we just laugh. It's like a 2-year-old trying to take something away from an adult. Silly, silly child. The power of thank you can turn our whole perception of what is going on around from victimhood to being a beloved. When things aren't going the way we think they should, we have a few choices. 1, we can take it personally, or we can choose not to. It can be just a neutral event where we're witnessing that something is happening, and it just is. Or 2, we can take it personally, and within that, we can have like 2 ways of taking it personally as well. We can take things personally in a negative way, where we believe the universe or someone has it out for us, punishing us somehow for some reason. Or we can take it personally in a positive way. We can decide to make the choice that the universe is kind and unconditionally loving, and it only has our best interests at heart all the time. Maybe the traffic we got stuck in was designed to delay me, so that I didn't come across the path of a serial killer or get involved in a fatal accident. Perhaps my partner forgot about our plans because there is something else that I will end up doing that will impact my life for years to come. Like reach out to an old friend who we didn't know was thinking about killing themselves. Possibly that refrigerator breaking down distracted me from that project of cleaning the leaves out of my gutters because I would have fallen off the roof to my death. And how wonderful that this customer was designed to interrupt me so that it would trigger emotions inside of me, acting as flags that I'm doubting my self-worth. Oh, wow. Thank you, Mr. Rude Caller, for the wake-up call. The power of now. Frustration is powered by the energy of the future and the past, but mainly in the future. The fears that are triggered are about what it is going to mean about us when people find out about that situation later. You were late to our dinner date, and now I'm going to punish you by giving you the silent treatment. Or you were late to work again, so now I'm going to write you up and threaten to fire you. What? Your husband forgot about the musical you wanted to go to? He doesn't think too much of you, does he? Do you think he's having an affair? It can go on and on and on. But if we take some deep breaths and focus on right here, right now, then we can see what is really going on instead of being distracted by the movie that is playing in our head. The power of no. Our power of choice becomes evident when we flex this power of no. It is the start of choosing. Yes or no. No! Feels good, doesn't it? Even if it is not in our best interest, we can always say no if we want to, just because we can. I have mentioned before that a fun practice is to think about situations and answer no to the requests people are making of you. I find that once we realize we could say no, we come to a place where we can face our fear of what people will think. It allows us to understand why we are making the current choices we are, and lets us see our lives from a different perspective. We can say no. They can get upset. And I will continue to live, at least in most cases. Facing the possible results or retaliation is all that we have to do. We can calmly look at the cause and effect and make an educated choice of our own lives. Or not. Your choice. The power to question. After applying some of these superpowers, or all of them if you want, we can come to the contemplative place of the power to question. In this place of peace, we can get to the root of our fear of rejection. Every moment is of unconditional love or the fear of losing conditional love. Frustration is, of course, not of unconditional love. We are either judging ourselves, others, or the situation that we're in. That is conditional love. If something needs to happen in order for us to be acceptable, or someone else to be acceptable, then that is conditional. One condition is all it takes to move from unconditional love to conditional love. Our long list of things that someone is supposed to be or how something is supposed to unfold is what keeps us in fear, if we allow it to. These rules of lovability and acceptability are what our fear ego has created for us in order to experience these uncomfortable emotions. Because we fear breaking any of those rules, we have a strong desire to make sure all of them are met. I must be in control. That's my Captain Kirk impression. And that's where our battles with the Klingons start. Fight and flight. Shields up. Fire proton torpedoes. Basically, we are getting frustrated because we aren't getting our way. And when we aren't getting our way, our ego reaction is to force our way through fighting or manipulating our way through rejection of others or giving them the silent treatment. Fine, I'm taking my ball and I'm going home. But thankfully, we can question our fears and our reactions. In doing so, we can find freedom to love things as they are right now and love people and ourselves as we are right now too. Freedom. What a way to live. And before we end this episode, I would like to share a Facebook post from a couple of years ago that I happened upon. And it was entitled, Our Eyes See. Our physical eyes are gathering information every second they are open. Through experience, we define what these things mean to us. We either come to a conclusion on our own or are told by those we allow to have authority over us what something means. When the being of love inside of us hears things that do not sit well with it, it presents its cases to the brain. And if the brain is in strong disagreement, our internal conflict begins. When we feel conflicted, then we can go to the inner struggle to understand where the disagreement lies and find out the facts of the case. When our inner spirit of love is at odds with our physical conditioned brain, our soul, the decision maker of our group, gets to be the final say on how we see things. And therein lies our power of choice. We may be unable to unsee certain things that come into our physical view, but we can also choose to see a different perspective about what something means to us. Today, we can take a deep breath and choose love, right here, right now. Judge Judy is doing the wave right now because she knows how awesome it is to choose what she wants to choose. Next episode, we will flow through the emotion of hatred. So give your haters a heads up that is coming. Till then, take a lot of deep breaths. Think about a frustrating situation or two that you have experienced recently. What rule are others breaking that is irritating you? Can you see how you are defining yourself by that rule? And do you see how you are attaching it to your worth? Pretend that rule is a balloon on a string. Take a deep breath and let it float away, if even for a moment. You can still hold on to the string so it doesn't float away completely, but at least give it a try. Feel that choice to release the balloon. You have that power. Enjoy your moments, and remember, you never have to do anything you don't want to do.